morning, good morning. It's Kim Talks All Things Real Estate, and I'm so glad to be back. What a wonderful time to be alive. And you know what? What a wonderful time to be a real estate agent. There's so many opportunities out there. We have such a high mix of old school, new school, everything that's going on, creative around your branding and your service to your clients. And that's the purpose for all things real estate, is kind of just reaching out and taking a look at real estate in general, be it from the consumer side or from the agency side. So today I've reached out and I have this incredible gal who's decided to join me today, and her name's Tina Larsson, and she is the co-founder and owner of the Folson Group, the premier co-op and condo cost consult, who helps NYC co-op and condo owners and their apartment building owners increase their property values. So the company is a business consultant and a disruptor in the residential real estate world, and Tina holds a lead green associate. We're going to talk about that a little bit, designation, and is on a mission to make NYC greener, more sustainable, and more affordable, one building at a time. And this is going to be an exciting conversation, folks, because the reality is with the cost of real estate, we need more Tina, because more and more of us will be have to purchase into these multifamily, multi-unit type of products. So Tina, good morning and good welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Kim. And thank you.
Awesome. So, I'm going to dive right in. I want us to get to know you a bit. Like, who are you and why condos? Why? Because usually a lot of real estate agents, I've never really done a ton in condos because the amount of paperwork, I'm going to be real honest. It's a lot of work to make sure that everybody is serviced in a condo building, that everybody is serviced. So tell me about who you are, what you do.
Okay. So I am from Sweden, hence the accent. I moved to New York City in 1994. So I've been in New York City for a long time. In New York City, we don't have a lot of single family homes, or in the city at least. So here we have large apartment buildings. The large apartment buildings in New York City, either they're rental buildings. So then we help the owners of those rental buildings, or it's a co-op or a condo. In the rest of the country, it's primarily condos, but in New York, it's about 80% are co-ops. But that's just a legal thing that we don't have to worry about. It's basically they operate like a condo.
Okay. I was going to ask that because I've never lived in New York, so I wouldn't know. So
no.
It's basically the same thing. It's physically the same thing, correct?
The physicality of it is structured slightly different. So in a co-op, it is an organization, and then you own shares, and then you have a proprietary lease. So my apartment is in a co-op. I don't physically own the space. I own a certain amount of shares that is allocated to this. So it's a legal thing, but for our purposes, it doesn't really matter. And for real estate brokers, it doesn't really matter. No.
Interesting.
Condos, you own a physical space, and very often they're looser on subletting, etc. So they tend to have they actually have a higher property value, and that fluctuates, but it could be 20%, 40%, and it's not always the same, but there is a premium to owning a condo.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay. So how did you get into this? So you come to New York, and it's totally first of all, New York is, it's on my bucket list. I'm still playing way on the West Coast, but tell me.
Well, we can't wait to have you.
I'm looking forward to it, baby. So tell me, how did you end up in this industry?
Okay. So when I moved to New York, I started working in finance, and I became an analyst, a business analyst. I was analyzing companies for the purpose of investing my clients' money.
Okay.
I know that sounds very far-fetched, right?
No, it's money. It's real estate money.
Yes, it is. But we were investing in the stock market for our clients.
Okay.
Yes. But I was an analyst. So I was analyzing the financial statements. So during the financial crisis, we got another letter from our board, from our co-op board for this building, that our maintenance was increasing by 5% again for the 10th year in a row. And that's when I said to my husband, listen, we have to run for the board. We have to organize. So we spoke to some neighbors. We got a team together. We organized and we took over the board. So my husband is the board president. So, and this is during a time when there was no inflation. So there's no, 5% increase every single year shouldn't be the case because the cost shouldn't be increasing by 5% a year. So when my husband took over, or when they took over the new board, they said, well, you're good at finance. Why don't you analyze this and see if you can find some savings? So I did what I knew from finance, which was I learned the industry. I went to some open houses, pretended to be a buyer so I could get the financial statements because I didn't know if $10,000 for this particular service was high, low, or normal. How would you know? It's just a number. So I got the financial statements, put together a benchmark. By now, we have hundreds of buildings and hundreds of line items. So we have a huge benchmark. We know how every single line item, how much they should be paying for all of these different costs. And then we did some, with the approval of the board, we renegotiated some contracts. We eliminated some duplicate services. And we were able to save this building $340,000 in the first 3 years.
Wow. Wow. That is amazing. That is amazing. So what would you say were the top 3 red flags that you found that maybe would be more common, like you would find them in other co-ops and condos? What were the top 3 red flags?
So for that, there were a discrepancy. So the property manager handles the books. And there was a discrepancy between what they were collecting and what they were reporting to the board and what was actually happening. So the board got the financial statements every month. That said that they had a certain amount of sublets, and there's a sublet fee they charged. I think it was 15% of the sublets, and storage bins. So we actually physically go into buildings and count how many storage bins they have to reconcile that what they are charging the storage bin renters is actually the same as what they are collecting for. And we were able, for that building, over $100,000 was not being billed by the property manager. We don't see that very often, but whenever there are fees for storage bins, parking spaces, or any other income to the building, we always reconcile to double check that they're collecting on the right amount. Another area was electricity. So I'm sure that even if you only sell single family homes, you have been to apartment buildings. You go into an apartment building, hallways the lights are always on. You go down to the basement, the lights are always on. So we upgraded the light fixtures. And in New York, there was a huge building boom in the 50s and the 60s. These are buildings that have light fixtures that are very old.
Yeah.
Upgrade them to LED and put them on motion sensors. That is one of the things that we do for over 90% of our clients. And it reduces energy or electricity by 50%, typically. And in most cases, owners, they are so aware of trying to be energy efficient that they themselves, they love it because they see this change. And it's something, board are very hesitant. They say, oh, we can't have motion sensors. We're like, we get these, We had someone say, but what if someone hides in the basement and is going to jump out and attack me? We're like, but they're motion sensors. They will turn on. You'll know if there's someone there.
Well, and if you have a good motion sensor, it's sensitive enough that it will detect any movement, right? I mean, some motion sensors, like you have to literally do jumping jacks right in front of it to get it to turn on. But if you're putting the good ones in, you're fine.
Yeah. And I mean, like any other technology that's advanced. So as long as they're set up correctly, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
And what's the third one? So we're saving on electricity. Insurance.
Insurance. Yeah.
That's not a sexy word. I'm just letting you know. That's a hard word to choke on. That's time of the morning. So tell me, so insurance, what is it? What's the flags in insurance? Why are they, so they're overpaid. I'm assuming they're overpaying for their insurance. So why are they overpaying? What is it in the insurance that they paid for that they didn't need or they didn't understand?
So insurance is something very touchy because the property managers, they get a % of the commission from the insurance broker.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. They have an affiliate program.
Kickbacks. Oh, okay.
Well,
affiliate program.
Kickbacks are illegal.
Illegal. So sorry. And we shouldn't say that about New York. There's no kickbacks. No kickbacks, folks. But yeah, so affiliate.
But there are affiliate fees. Yes.
All right. So they're being incentivized to use a specific insurance, and that insurance provider is more expensive than an other.
So it's a little complicated. So there are like 5 large A-rated insurance underwriters in New York City. It's the insurance broker who uses all of these insurance underwriters, right? So it's the insurance broker. If you think about it, if the insurance broker, they want as much as possible in their brokerage commission, right?
Yeah.
So what's their incentive to go out and bid it every year? Yeah. So if that insurance broker started working with a building 20 years ago, and the increase is, on average, it has been 2.5% per year for insurance premiums. This year it was much higher. I don't know if that's nationwide or only in New York. We've seen 8 to 10%, and we actually have a building where it doubled. So the insurance broker, if they were hired 20 years ago, how nice is that for them? They can just increase by whatever % every single year, and then they increase their own commission. The property manager then increases his affiliate fee, so he doesn't have an incentive to go out and bid. So in many cases, we just change the insurance broker to an insurance broker that we work with, who does not have an affiliate program, and they work with us. They're interested in reducing the insurance premium. They know that we're going to get compensated on the savings, and we will only bring them in if they will do their very best. And they're okay with that. They're taking less in insurance premium, but they're okay with that. Or, I mean, that's how they work. Yeah.
So that insurance, in insurance, I'm guessing it's like everything else. Either you pay for the service directly, or the service will pull the pay out of what they get. So it's like a lot of things, you can either, it's like lawyers, you can either hire them and pay them directly, or they can go on a split of the settlement, right? So is that like insurance companies? They get a split of what you pay, or you can pay them directly, like the representative, not the insurance company, but the representative you're working with. Do they have a couple different ways of being compensated for servicing clients? Or I'm just trying to figure out.
No. Yeah, so the insurance brokerage industry is very regulated. Okay. And they are not allowed to pay anyone out, and they're not allowed to take any money, I believe, just like mortgage brokers that they can't. Yeah. So what they get a commission on the premium. So if the premium is 100,000, their commission is going to be much higher. It's a %, and I don't know what.
Okay, so it's a commission base. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, for obvious reason, if we come in, we move it to a different insurance broker, and we have an insurance premium that's $50,000. The building is happy, and the owners have to pay less.
Well, and I'm guessing that that insurance brokerage has a different financial setup with the people representing their product. So they're not as dependent on a commission per se. So I find that you see so if a company's paying their insurance brokers, the front of the face, the front of house, less money, right? But they're going out and getting higher commission versus, a company who pays better for their employees, their brokers, the front of the house, then they don't need to go out and gouge for that commission. That's what I would assume, is that it's something along those lines. I don't know, folks. I'm not in the insurance business. Okay.
I don't know the back end of it.
Yeah.
I don't know the back end of it. But bottom line,
I know sales. And typically when you see somebody who's going for a large commission, it's because they're not being compensated by the primary company. And so when people are more client centric, they're being compensated by the primary company. So that's we see that in almost every industry. Okay, so let's move on. What are the 3 things people should look for in a well-run condo board or a condo association or a co-op association? So what are the 3 things that go, okay, this would be a good buy. This is a good investment.
Yes. So one of the things is that the board is active and current. So they're actively working on improving their building. So for instance, if in New York City, they're not using the roof as a roof terrace or a roof garden or with a solar farm, then that is valuable real estate property value that is not being used. That doesn't indicate that it's an active board, right? I mean, you should use every single square feet. If you go down to the basement and you see that the laundry room is really, so in New York City, in most apartment buildings, there's a laundry room in the basement, and you see that the laundry room looks dingy, that's not a sign. I mean, it might be a very active board. They might be working on all kinds of other things that are very good, but it seems like they're not really doing 100% on upgrading the building. The basement should be clean. I should say that hallways and basements should be on motion sensors, but that's probably not a very large percent of buildings who are like that. That's basically
it
our
takes
buildings.
time. Although with our new inflation, when it comes around energy and everything, I think we're going to see a lot more people going that road because So what's the third one? So we talked rooftop. So we've actually gone from the top of the building to the basement. What's the third thing that if you see it in a building, it's a good building?
Is all the public areas well kept? So is the basement very clean? Even the recycling area or the garbage area, is it nice and clean and taken care of? Is the super good super really?
Awesome.
Yeah, those are the 3 things.
Very cool. Well, and I would think that, especially when we're looking at recycle areas, garbage areas, that's pretty important because when you get hot, those are not pleasant areas if they're not well taken care of, and that affects the entire building, which affects your property value, which will affect your if you're an owner in there, it affects your long-term wealth accumulation. So definitely, and those are actually really easy things to check out. So when we look at this, first of all, I love the fact that you and your husband just kind of took over. I mean, he stormed the castle and took over. That's hilarious. You guys sound like quite the duo. What are some things that you've really enjoyed changing? Let's talk a little bit about LEED, and let's talk about what that looks like and what you're seeing on the front that maybe real estate agents could help support.
That's a good question. And so I have my LEED Green Associate designation. That means that I took a course, just like you take your real estate courses, and I passed But I am really passionate about sustainability. And I come from Sweden, so we Swedes, we've been
Oh
carrying
yeah.
our own bags for
As long as
decades.
there's not an Allen key in this conversation, we're all
No,
good, right?
no. But so New York City in 2019 passed a law called Local Law 97. What it does, it has a goal to completely eliminate fossil fuels in New York City. Okay, that is great. But buildings are going to be fined as part of this law. So in 2030, 80% of New York City buildings, commercial and residential, will be fined. And we're seeing fines in the hundreds of thousands of dollars per year.
Wow.
Yes. So between now and then, buildings need to electrify, and buildings need to upgrade. They need to be on motion sensors. They need to do whatever they can.
Well, they need to have solar trees, solar towers, solar, rooftops, whatever. So you're in Leeds. So there's a couple things. When real estate agents go, I know that it's not hers. What is the name of the test that you can run on a house, on a property, that will assess the energy efficiency, like how closed sealed the windows are, how much heat is leaking?
Air blower. It's called an air blower test.
Yeah. So, I mean, the question is, with the cost of solar having been so high to install, people looked at it and it didn't have a payoff ratio. Due to the cost of energy going up, do you feel that more people are going to be leaning that way because now it becomes a cost neutral?
Yes, it's not cost neutral yet, but there are so many different options. If you live in a single family home, you can lease. You basically lease out your roof to a company who installs it, and then you split the energy savings, or you pay a certain percent per kilowatt, or however it works. I mean, you can rent. That's available everywhere.
Okay.
When it comes to installing on a large solar on a large building, what happens is that the space, so in our building, we have solar on the roof, as you can probably imagine. But what happens is, because it's 18 stories tall, the area is not large enough to provide enough energy to generate enough electricity to offset the entire electric load. But so in this building, it offsets 25% of the load. A few years ago, you basically had to buy your own solar system. But today, there are many options where someone can either lease the equipment or they lease the space. And there are various ways that you can do the splitting of whether it's just income from the rental or whether. So there's many options, because it will happen eventually that everybody is.
Yeah. Well, batteries are becoming more efficient. If we go back 10 years ago, just the sheer batteries in New York, like Toronto, like a lot of northern cities, you got to store energy when the sun is out, because it's not out all the time. And so that was very much, I know that the battery and the energy retention was really a challenge, because a lot of people didn't want the corrosiveness or the toxicity of the batteries within their living space. But now that we're seeing Elon Musk is doing incredible things when we look at solar panels and battery storage and everything. So do you feel that, with everything you understand, is there, we got 2030 looming. The last 3 years disappeared. Literally, it was magic. So the reality is that we're not even, a decade out from that. That's going to happen really fast. How long does it take to take a building from, where it currently stands to self-sufficient within, solar? And in New York, can you do a reverse feedback into the main?
You can. Yes, you can. It is being put back into the grid.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
And that's a few years. Well, now with the pandemic, those 2 years. So it's a few years old.
I know. It's like, what year is this? I feel like I lived Groundhog Day over and over and over again.
And we
And I
did.
have to, yes, you know what? I think it was a much needed break. A lot of people needed in some aspects that it's like, I said to my husband, I said, if the world went blind, I'd become a nudist. I hate doing laundry. And I feel like that was kind of the pandemic in general. So what are the, as a condo owner, and they want to see some changes within their unit, what are some things they could do?
Volunteer to their board.
Okay.
If you want something done, volunteer to your board. I mean, that's how you're going to be able to make a change. And if there are no board openings, then suggest to the board that you want to create a sustainability committee. Boards normally are open to committees.
Sustainability committee. That's a really great term. Sustainability committee. I'm writing that down because I'm going to put that in there. And I have, just so you know, everybody, when I look down, just so you know, my desk is a big sheet of glass. It is a whiteboard. So I sit here all day long making my notes because I'm trying to move away from my heavy consumption of paper. The amount of paper I go through is unbelievable because I'm a note taker. And so I just want you to know, I am listening. I'm listening, Tina. I am writing. I am taking notes. I love the whole, actually, when you said you and your husband took over the board, I wrote anarchy. I was like, oh, this gal, she's going to go in and just take over the world. One more thing I want to ask, rooftop gardens and that type of thing. How effective are they, especially right now when we're seeing inflation on foods and things like that? How can somebody get a rooftop garden or a community garden, let's say it's townhome complex, or even like a co-op around housing where they come together to take a singular space and turn it in? Because I do think that this is going to be a solution for a lot of families.
Yeah. So how they can do that? There are so many different options depending on how much you want to spend, of course, on a roof garden. So we have done roof gardens that look like a high line. I'm sure that even if you haven't been to New York, you've seen the high line, right?
Yeah.
With the whole self-irrigating system, they're collecting the rainwater. The rainwater is coming down from the water tower that they have on every roof in New York City. And it's collected, it's being distributed through an irrigation system. And then they have all of these plants and they have various sitting areas so smaller groups of gatherings. I think that there are like 4 or 6. They have a little pantry and a bathroom on the roof. So it can actually be used to entertain and facilitate a lot of people hanging out there. Then there's also herb gardens. And there's a volunteer committee who helps removing some of the weeding, I guess it's called. So it builds community. It's just like you said, it has some free herbs. So whenever in the summer when I need basil or rosemary, I go up with my sister and I pick 2 little twigs. So that's one way to do it. But if you just want to use the roof and your budget is very small, there is smaller variation that you can do too. I mean, you can go to Home Depot, buy the little box, put some herbs. I mean, it's very simple, but and you can put some pavers down. So it doesn't have to look like a highline, and it doesn't have to be that great, but
I
you
find that
know,
once something is done with care and love and initiative, that it tends to grow anyway. No pun
yes,
intended. No pun
yes,
intended. But it tends
yes,
to, one box will lead to two boxes, which will lead to four
yes.
boxes, which lead to eight boxes. So absolutely, absolutely. I always ask each of my guests, what is a book you would recommend based on what they're talking about? If somebody wants to get better educated when it comes to energy efficiency, opportunities of living a slightly more energy effective or greener lifestyle. What is a book that they could actually go to start researching?
And that is a very good question. And I don't have any of those books.
Okay, Tina, I'm gonna. You know
But
what? Then you got to write a book. You got to write a
I,
book, Tina. It's not the hard.
I'll do that. I'll do that. That's a good one.
Okay, you give me a shout
I
back.
do have a book. I came prepared, and I said my favorite book is the 10x rule with
Oh, the
Grant
10X rule.
Cardone. I just
Greg,
read it. It's fantastic.
I haven't just finished The Undercover Billionaire. And you know, Grant Cardone is like an acquired taste, folks. Seriously. I'm not here pushing his programs, but I will tell you, like him, love him, or leave him. I don't know if I could do a dinner with Grant Cardone because he is like a hamster on crack, I swear. However, the guy has really good thought processes around, you know, being able to initiate and create, and not just, we're not just talking sales. We're talking about how do you identify and the problem and create a solution. It's all solution oriented. What did you love? You're not in sales directly, but you're selling everybody on the condo board to do things, right? So what did you
So
love about the 10X?
the 10x, and I completely agree with you. When I said that I love it on LinkedIn, I think someone said, "Oh, what's your favorite book recommendation?" And I wrote that, and someone commented and said, "Oh yeah, some people love it and some people hate it, but I love it."
Yeah.
And what I liked the most about it was that he was talking about to be omnipresent, and I have. I feel that I am omnipresent, but it just made me think about it more. So it made me more aware, and it is going. I mean, he basically said you need to be everywhere and involved in anything, everything, and you need everyone to know you. And yeah,
As he says on Undercover Billionaire, contacts equal contracts. I swear I'm gonna get that on a t-shirt because it's like, that is hilarious.
yeah,
And but it's so true.
yes, it
It's
is
so
true.
true.
It is true.
So be omnipresent, be aware of what's going on around you, take initiative, especially as the world is shifting rapidly. And you know, it doesn't matter, like it, love it, or leave it, the world is changing, folks. We are moving from the industrial age to the age of knowledge. And if you want to be aboard this train, you need to get knowledgeable about what you are good at, where you can go, and how you can be of service. Because remember, it is the 3P principle to building a business. You have the people you serve. You have the purpose or the product that you provide. And you have to remember the planet. So 3Ps, people. So you got to get your scoreboard even and use that 3P to guide you to build the best business ever. And like Tina just shared via the 10X, be omnipresent. And we're going to hold Tina. Tina, 1 year, I'm challenging you right now. I can help you write that book. You need to get a book out. 10 says 10 simple steps for real estate agents to understand the energy efficiency of their client's property.
Oh,
I
that's a good
think
one.
that's a good one. I
That's a
would
good
buy
one.
it and I'd share it with every client. So,
Thank you. I like it.
all right, Tina, how can we get a hold of you if we are curious about more information?
Yes, so my website is here below, the folsongroup.com. And well, I'm very active on LinkedIn, so you can always reach me on LinkedIn. That's Tina Larsson, Li, as in LinkedIn. And My phone number and
No,
my
don't put your
email.
phone number out. Never put your phone number on social media. Tina, oh, we have work to do, my dear. You've got a message and a calling, but we have work to do. You guys find Tina on LinkedIn. Email her if you have any questions. I think she's a wealth of knowledge. And as the world, as we see, even in Wichita, Kansas, where I'm originally from, I know that pricing of houses have gone up 30% in just the last few months. So we're going to see more and more condo developments going up. So we have to get a bit more savvy about how we approach our living spaces. And you know what? When's the best time to plant a tree, folks? Yesterday. So, do it for yourself, do it for the earth, do it for your pocketbook. All three will love you. Again, Tina, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Kim Hayden. This is Kim Talks, all things real estate, Thursday mornings or evenings, wherever you are. It's this time, whatever time it is in your time zone. And I just appreciate your time. After 22 years in the real estate industry, I find that there's a lot that's going on. We're all like ducks, right? Calm and smooth on the top and paddle like crazy underneath. So there's a lot going on. Let's learn about it. Let's share about it. And let's make real estate the amazing opportunity for everyone. Again, follow me, kimtalks.com, kimtalks.club. You can go to the resilientseries.com. Like, subscribe, share, and comment on this video. And you know what? Even if you don't like it, share it anyway. Find the people who don't like me too. Anything is better than nothing. So be omnipresent, build community, and you know what? Get those motion sensors, turn those lights off. Alrighty, until next time, bye for now.
Thank you.